All right, so get this. Today we're diving into an anime where people literally fight over discounted bento
Yeah,
boxes.
you heard that right. It's called Bento, and it's wilder than it sounds.
I mean, who hasn't been at the grocery store like eyeing the last container of sushi?
Totally. But in Bento, that everyday struggle turns into, well, full-on martial arts battles
Hmm.
in the middle of supermarkets.
It's such a crazy concept, but I gotta know, what got you hooked on this show?
Honestly, the fights are insane, the animation's incredible, and the characters are surprisingly relatable.
Oh yeah, the characters. So we've got our main guy, You Satou. He's a pretty normal high school student until he stumbles into this whole secret society.
And this is where it gets interesting. He learns about the wolves. These are like the elite bento battlers.
The top dogs, literally. So, are there rules to these bento brawls, or is it just a free-for-all?
Surprisingly, there is some order to the chaos. The wolves have their own code of conduct. They fight in specific areas. They don't hurt regular shoppers.
Almost like an underground fight club, but with way tastier steaks. And Satu, he's obviously not a wolf when he starts out, right?
No, he's a dog, like the rookie, just learning the
Uh-huh.
ropes. But he's got this drive, this determination to become stronger, even if it means getting his butt kicked over and over.
I mean, we can all relate to that feeling of wanting to get better at something, right? Even if it's not, fighting for half-price tempura.
It's about pushing your limits, testing yourself, and yeah, maybe even discovering hidden strengths.
Okay, so how does Satu go from dog to wolf? Does he have some kind of mentor?
He does. And she's awesome.
Yeah.
Her name is Sen Yarizui, but everyone calls her the Ice Witch.
Okay, the ice witch. I'm intrigued. What's her deal?
So she's like a legendary bento battler, super skilled, and she sees potential in Satu, takes him under her wing.
That's so cool. What does she teach him? Is it all about fighting techniques?
It's more than that, actually. Sen teaches him about strategy, about discipline, and even about respecting your opponents, which is pretty unexpected given the whole fighting over food thing.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting about Bento. It's got these crazy battles, but there are these deeper themes woven in about honor and self-improvement.
Exactly. And as we dive deeper, we'll see how those themes play out in even more surprising ways.
I'm ready for it. So for our listener, if you're even remotely curious about this show, trust us, it's a wild ride. You'll laugh, you'll be amazed by the fights, and you might even learn a thing or two about yourself.
We'll be back after a short break to unpack even more of the awesomeness that is Bento. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Bento.
So last time we were talking about those wolves and their code of conduct.
It's pretty wild, right? Like they're totally brawling over food.
Yeah, but still, there's this sense of respect, even friendship between them.
Makes you think about competition in a different way, doesn't it?
Totally. Like, it's not always about crushing the other guy. There can be camaraderie, too.
Remember that scene where Satou hesitates to use a cheap move to win?
Yeah, even though it would have gotten him the bento, he holds back.
Because he's learning it's not just about winning, it's about how you win.
It's like the wolves, they've got this honor code that goes beyond the fights.
Absolutely, and it shows how Satou is really growing as a character.
So it's not just mindless action, there's a real moral compass there, too.
You know, one thing that's been on my mind? Those bento boxes themselves.
Oh, yeah. What about them? They're more than just lunch, right?
Definitely. They become these symbols of victory, like trophies almost.
But also, they represent something so basic, the joy of eating.
Totally. And in a way, Bento reminds us to appreciate those simple things.
It's easy to forget about that sometimes in our busy, gotta-have-it-all world.
And I think there's a subtle message there, too, about consumerism.
Yeah, it's like these guys are going crazy over discounted food.
It's funny, but it also makes you think, right? About our own obsessions.
Like Black Friday, people going nuts for deals.
It makes you question what's really important, what are we really fighting for?
That's a good point. It's easy to get caught up in the whole consumerism thing.
And it's refreshing that Bento, in a weird way, makes you think about that.
Back to the wolves for a second, though.
Yeah, what about them?
That sense of community is strong. Despite the competition, it's really cool.
They push each other, but they also support each other. It's a good balance.
I think that resonates with a lot of people, the need to belong.
Definitely. It's something we all crave, to be part of something bigger.
And to be accepted for who you are, even if you're a little bit weird.
Like fighting over lunchboxes.
Exactly. Oh, and let's talk about the animation for a sec.
Yeah, how can we not? It's incredible, so dynamic and expressive.
Especially during those fight scenes, it's like watching a live action movie.
The animators really went all out. They captured the energy perfectly.
And the way they blend the humor and the action is seamless.
You laugh 1 minute, then you're on the edge of your seat the next.
It's a visual feast, seriously. For anyone who hasn't seen Bento,
You're missing out.
you've got to check it out. It's fun, it's action-packed, and it's got a lot of heart.
More than you'd expect from a show about bento brawls.
Totally. So, to wrap things up for this part.
Let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the other characters besides Satou.
Okay, yeah. There's a whole cast of colorful personalities.
And each one brings something different to the table. It's great.
Like Hana Oshiroi, the twin-tailed beauty, she's amazing.
She's tough, she's got skills, but she's also got a heart of gold.
She's like the voice of reason in all the chaos, trying to keep everyone cool.
Then there's Ayaru Ayami, the beauty by the lake. She's a bit of a wild card.
She keeps you guessing, always got some trick up her sleeve.
And of course, Ren Nakaido, the wizard. He's like the rival Satou looks up to.
They push each other to become better. It's a classic dynamic.
And all these characters, they really add to the depth of Bento.
It's like they each represent a different aspect of the show's themes.
About finding your strength, your place in the world, your people.
And ultimately, it's about the journey, the growth you experience along the way.
And as we head into the final part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with this.
Okay, hit us with it.
Think about the next time you're in a tough spot, competing for something.
Anything, a job, a game, whatever.
Remember the lessons from Bento. Embrace the challenge, fight fair.
And never underestimate the power of finding your tribe, your people.
We'll be right back to finish off our Bento exploration.
All right, welcome back to the final round of our Bento deep dive. We've seen epic bento brawls, talked about these wolves and their weird but kind of cool code.
And hopefully convince you that there's a lot more to this show than meets the eye.
For sure. So today, let's bring it all home for our listener. What makes Bento so special? Why should they watch it?
I think it's that mix of pure ridiculousness with some surprisingly deep stuff. I mean, you've got high schoolers fighting over discounted food.
Yeah, flying kicks for half-price sushi. It's absurd.
But then it also taps into these universal feelings we all have. That hunger for something you really want, that feeling of wanting to belong.
Totally. It's like we've all been there, maybe not throwing punches in the grocery aisle, but that drive, that desire, it's relatable.
And Bento doesn't shy away from showing the struggles, too. Like Satou, he gets beat up a lot before he starts winning.
He's got that underdog spirit, though. Keeps getting back up, wants to prove himself.
And those bento boxes themselves, they're not just lunch, right? They become symbolic.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like a trophy, proof you were the strongest, the fastest.
But also, it's about the simple joy of eating, that satisfaction after a hard-fought win.
Makes you think about how we view food in our own lives, you know?
Sometimes we get so caught up in the fancy stuff, we forget about that basic pleasure.
Back to the wolves for a sec. What stuck with me is how they're rivals, but there's also that respect, even friendship between them.
Right. It's not all cutthroat. They push each other to be better, but they also celebrate each other's wins.
That sense of community, of finding your people, I think that's something everyone wants.
Especially in those competitive spaces, it's good to have people who get you, who've got your back.
And Bento does a great job of showcasing all these different personalities. Each character brings something unique to the table.
From Sen, the ice witch, all serious and stoic, to Hana, the twin-tailed beauty, with her energy and kindness.
And don't forget the wizard, always pushing Satou to his limits. It's a great cast of characters.
And of course, got to mention the animation. Those fight scenes are insane.
It's so dynamic, over the top, but they blend in humor too. Like 1 minute you're watching this epic battle, the next someone's face planting into a cake display.
It's a visual treat, for sure. Really captures the energy of the whole thing.
So for anyone listening, if you're looking for an anime that's fun, action-packed, but also has some surprising depth, Bento is it.
It'll make you laugh. It might even make you think a little. And hey, you might just end up craving some good bento afterwards.
Totally. It's been a blast diving into this show with you. Who knew bento boxes could be so exciting?
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Hopefully it's inspired you to check out Bento for yourself.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep watching, and remember, there's always something new to discover, even in the most unexpected places.